you guys, welcome back to my channel. In this video I'm gonna be talking to you about 3 things that I miss the most about living now in Mexico compared to previously in China. And do not think that I will not be going back, but I mean for the past 2.5 years that I've been in Mexico, the things that I miss the most from China. Okay, are you ready? Let's go straight into it. The first thing that I miss the most, surely, is going out into walks. Mexico, it's a country that you can go out to the parks. There are places, special places that you can go and walk, just like perhaps in the USA or elsewhere, other countries around the world, where there are some dedicated areas for you to have a peaceful walk in nature. But apart from that, perhaps you can go walk into the shopping mall and not much else from that. Because here in Mexico, like the streets and the urbanization is not designed as China, that you can go under the shade walking from point A to point C. Previous to living in Shenzhen, I was living in Beijing. I started studying there, and I will be living in Udako, where it's like the student area. So I will be walking from Udako to Guanfujing. You might be thinking it's crazy, and I think myself it's crazy because it took me about 5 hours. I will wake up at 5 a.m. and walk all the way to Guanfujing to drink a coffee. So I will walk the way there because there was like this map back in the day that they gave in Starbucks, and you will know the main avenue, so it was pretty easy. I remember from Udako to Shichimen, and then from Shichimen there was an avenue, and I will just go straight, and I will go past like the Forbidden City, and after that I will arrive to Guanfujing. Wow, it's been such a long time. I really want to go back there, and I'm not sure at this moment of my life whether I can still have the conditions to do so, but I will love to. And this is one of the things that I miss the most. And you will be thinking, well, that was back in the day. It was like 15 years ago when I was living in Beijing, and of course at this moment I'm not in the condition to be walking that kind of distance anymore. When I was in Shenzhen, I remember this day I walked like 55 kilometers, so that was a long walk because I really used to love walking. Besides, China is super safe to be walking outside and has the infrastructure for you to not burn under the sun because it's super humid, super hot. There's always shadow. The pedestrian way, it's always wide enough for you to be comfortable compared to Mexico, where the streets are super narrow. There is no shadow for you to cover from the sun, and I'm like a big fan now, after living in China for almost 15 years, of covering myself from the sun, to preserve my beauty for as long as possible. By the way, I'm already 35 years old now. I recorded a video about my birthday. I will be posting soon, so stay tuned. Subscribe to the channel, give this video a thumbs up. So when I was a student, I will be walking all around like Shenzhen or Beijing, when I was living in Beijing, discovering new things, because there was always something new to discover. China, there are always some new shops emerging, connecting with locals, speaking the language, having some exercise. Especially, I will feel so good. Overall, my health was better. That is now in Mexico. Although here I have a very big park nearby my home that is about 5 km, one round, but it's not the same to be going to the park and perhaps listening some podcast, music, whatever, and being in nature, than being in this bursting city where always you find something new and you make new friends on the walk, and then you feel super recharged after these endorphins. There were a lot of times that I will be going to Huaqiangbei to work in Shenzhen, and I used to live in Futian, and I will be going back by foot. It was about 2 train stations, 2 subway stations, and I will be going back after 12 a.m. It was super dark, and there was not a concern for me that it will be not safe, or that something will happen, or that a man will threaten me. Although it's not for sure that it will not happen, but I was not fearing. Compared to Mexico, I will by no means be going out to walk after 12 a.m. here from some point to another, especially that was about perhaps 4 km or something like that, that would be a no for a woman, especially here in Mexico. And I'm sure that perhaps it's the same for the people living in the USA or other countries around the world. If that is the case, please let me know in the comment section, because I'm very interested. If you were living in China, how is your country compared to China in regards to walking outside, etc. So that is one thing that I would really miss, my night walk strolls. Like, you know, during the summertime it's super hot, so people, especially from the province of Guangdong, and back when I was in Beijing also during the summertime, will be sitting outside, eating the shao kao and having a very relaxing time. 1, 2 a.m., 3 a.m. and it was like during weekdays compared to here that is perhaps just Friday, Saturday. Apart from that, working days will be like you're not going out because you have to wake up early. That's something different in China because people usually do not wake up that early, you know? So it was safe, it was comfortable, and it was very interesting. This is what I'm missing the most. The second will be the foods. Yeah, I'm sure that you can relate to this one if you were living in China or if you visit China for a while, etc. Some of you might already know that I was a vegan. I converted into a vegan diet when I was living in China, and I found it super easy. Opposite to what people might think everywhere around the world, that Chinese people eat these alive animals, there is a part of the population that do eat those kind of things. But believe me that from all the countries that I visit around the world, China is the most comfortable place to be eating vegan, because there is a big variety of fruits, delicious, sweet, ripe fruits that you can purchase there. Fruits are a little bit expensive compared to Mexico or Latin America in general, but the variety and the taste of them, it's way better than here, although Mexico it's well known by its fruit variety, colors, etc. But after being here for all this time, I still believe that the fruits there are way better, especially the fruits in that monkey pagoda. Oh my god, there are selected premium kind of fruits. I really miss the fruits like the honeydew melon, the red dragon fruit, this pomelo, which was super sweet. Oh my god, yes, I miss that. Do you guys miss that too? And also, apart from the fruits, there are the vegan restaurants, which you can find almost anywhere you go. Because I was traveling in China, as you perhaps have been watching my videos, previous videos, where I went to this and that place. Like, some of those places were really quite remote, so you couldn't find like foreigners just walking out the street. But there was always like a Buddhist temple in that city where the vegan Buddhist buffet was around 15 renminbi or 35 renminbi or something like that. Super cheap for all you could eat, and the variety of foods was like amazing. Fresh foods, like I especially like it that the Buddhists didn't cook with onion, shallots, garlic. So I adopted that kind of taste, and back here, whenever I go to those kind of vegan restaurants where they mock some Mexican meals, some have a lot of onion, you know, tacos here and some other specialties. I cannot bear that. So I really miss that, because those vegan buffets were super healthy compared to Mexico or perhaps the USA, where you have like vegan burgers, hot dogs, etc. Everything is more kind of unhealthy, and there were like a lot of veggies and a lot of like soups and some like taro, corn, like the chow, not processed foods. The third one and the last for this video will be the business boost kind of environment. That thing over there, I do not miss at all. The noise of like the reparations back in China. Whenever you arrive to Shenzhen, I believe that perhaps it can happen to other cities in China too if you were living elsewhere than Shenzhen. But Shenzhen and Guangzhou, I just felt like the energy around the city, the ambience itself was injecting you with some adrenaline. Like you will feel like drinking a Red Bull once you arrive to Shenzhen. Like everything is new, everyone is like rushing to make money. A lot of youngsters, like young people just like us. I mean, I grew up with Shenzhen. I was living in Shenzhen for more than 10 years, and Shenzhen city is 4 years old. So it was somehow very, very energizing to be living there, to be also growing with the city itself, to be going to the markets, to Huachanbei, to see the new trends on the market, the new gadgets, the new emerging technology. Also, I used to go a lot to my logistic agent to, have the products verified. I am still purchasing and sending products from China, so if you're interested, I'm gonna leave you here my WhatsApp for business and my WeChat. So I miss those days, being at the logistic agent, verifying products, shipping away products. Like, the energy in Shenzhen is just uncomparable to everywhere else, I believe. Also, I miss visiting factories, like, being amazed by these huge buildings and the production lines, like the big tea tables of buses. I miss all the way that China does business in a big magnitude that you will not imagine, the dimension of it. I also do miss that when I was walking around, I will be checking up on new startups, like, let's say, like, this shop was trending, so another shop just alike opened in this area. So you will be there, living on the spot, watching the new business arise. Compared to Mexico or perhaps even the USA, where it's very slow, like, things don't change that much. Now with the globalization and social media, after these years, perhaps things are getting faster, and you can take a look on trends on TikTok or Instagram, etc. But there's nothing like being there, living it yourself. You will get a view about business, where business are heading, business trends, business models. I was a fan of this. And those things perhaps are just happening in China because the infrastructure was enough to make it happen. Also, in this regard, I miss a lot meeting like-minded people. Perhaps here you can still meet those kind of people, but there the people was already selected. Let's say, like, the foreigners that we met in Shenzhen University 10 years ago when I was studying, we're already having some struggles in crossing the world to be there, to be studying in Mandarin. So there were already somehow selected people that wanted to go for it and will be working for it. And when we graduated, I remember a few of my classmates were already having their startups, running their trading companies, or working for a big company in China like Huawei, etc. So you will meet these kind of individuals without much effort, like just being there because you're a foreigner, and you will have the foreigner community around you, and all these foreigners there are already somehow selected people that wanna give that step further in their lives. Not all of them, but like when I was going to market, when I will go to the bank, like all these kind of business-minded friends will be around me, and then you can make collabs with them, just like I made here with some YouTubers back in the day, you remember that? As well as business alliances, get to learn from their trajectory and also their stories, how they got into China, what they were doing, and most of all from their mistakes. So having this kind of international friendships is very much missed here for me back in Mexico, where people is more like Mexican minded, and they will do this and that, and that's it. Like, they will work hard to have a big house, a beautiful car, get married, like this and that. By the way, I'm not married, I'm still single. How on earth, yeah? Somehow it's not easy for me because, as I said, having that kind of mind and then coming back here and meeting some people that has a more narrow vision of life is not, you are not on that frequency. So I hope that you have enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comment section whether you relate or not to the points I gave you. And if not, which are the things that you miss the most after living in China, and where is that you're living now, and whether you want to go back to China or not. And do you want me to go back to China? Let me know in the comment section. Kisses to the world, and see you on my next video. Subscribe, love you.